The narrative of Mr. Preely Coleman. He says, I'm Preely Coleman, and I'd never get tired of talking. Yes, ma'am, it am Juneteenth, and I'm home 'cause I'm too old now to go to them celebrations. Where I was born, I knows that exactly 'cause my mammy tells me that 1,000 times. I was born down on Sobo Place in South Carolina, about 10 miles from Newberry. My mammy belonged to the Sobo family, but it's a fact that the Sobo boys was my pappy. So the Sobos sell my mammy to Bob and Dan Lewis, and they brung us to Texas along with a big bunch of other slaves. Mammy tells me it was a full month before we gets to Alto, their new home. When I was a child, I was pretty good, because there was plenty of children on the plantation. We had big races. During the war, the soldiers stopped by on the way to Mansfield in Louisiana to get something to eat and stay all night, and then we had the races. There was a mulberry tree we run to, and then we line up, and the soldiers would say, now the first one to slap that tree gets a quarter. And I nearly always got there first. I made plenty of quarters slapping that old mulberry tree. So the children's get into their head to fix me, 'cause I wins all the quarters. They throws a rope over my head and started dragging me down a road and down a hill, and I was nigh about choked. My only friend was Billy, and he was a-fighting, trying to get me loose. They was gonna throw me in the big spring at the foot of the hill. But we met Captain Berryman, a white man, and he took a knife out and cut that rope from my neck. And he took me by the heels and soused me up and down in the spring till I come to. They never tries to unalive me no more. My mammy done married John Selman on the way to Texas. No ceremony, you know, but with her master's content. Now our masters, the Lewises, they lose their place, and then the salesmans buy me and mammy. They pay $1,500 for mammy, and I was throwed in. Master Selman have 5 cabins in the backyard, and they built like half circles. I grows big enough to hoe and then plow. We have to be ready for the field by daylight, and conch was blowed out, and massa call out, all hands ready for the field. At 11:30 he blows the conch, what am the mussel shells, and again we eats dinner. At 12:30 we have to be back at work, but master wouldn't allow no kind of work on Sunday. Master Tom made us wear shoes, because they had so many snags and stumps our feet get sore. They was red russet shoes. I never forget 'em. They was so stiff, at first you could hardly stand in 'em. Master Tom was a good man, though he did love the drum. He kept that bottle in the center of the dining table at all times. Every meal he have a toddy. Us slaves eat out under the tree in the summer and in the kitchen in the winter. And most generally we had bread in pot liquors or milk, but sometimes honey. I well remembers when freedom come. We was in the field and massa come up and say, you all is free as I is. There was shouting and singing. Before night, us was all way to freedom.